Welcome to my channel, INTJ Island. Today, I'm going to talk about a bad INTJ. Henry F. Potter opened up a newspaper that the uncle of his rival had dropped into his lap and was shocked to find that the fool had also left an envelope inside by accident with several $1,000s in it. The money was supposed to be deposited into the bank, but the uncle didn't even realize what he had done and later was trying to figure out where the money went. This perfect robbery was not planned or in any way pursued, it just came to him. This INTJ villain currently holds the number 6 position on the American Film Institute's list of the 50 greatest villains in American film. He goes on to call the police to get his rival thrown into prison for embezzling the funds that the uncle had tossed away by accident. This was a ruthless, scheming, cantankerous old man who wanted to rule the town like a king. He planned out his moves and strove to cut off all opposition. So, when the uncle had made it easy for him, when he had been up against a wall for years and only had frustration for his trouble, he moved forward towards his goal without a moment's hesitation. The movie is, of course, It's a Wonderful Life, and it is shown every Christmas and watched by millions of viewers. Authors love to cast INTJs as bad men. INTJs are the villain at the top of evil empires like the Star Wars franchise. They often are found to be at the top of powerful evil groups like Lord Voldemort in the Harry Potter series. They seek out power and domination, and there isn't a soft spot to be found in their hearts. In my video about the beautiful INTJ, I discussed the qualities that make an INTJ a good one. Philosophically, a good INTJ will do what an ideal INTJ would do, and a bad INTJ would diverge from that ideal greatly. However, today I want to talk about the qualities that could lead to a supervillain mindset and still might not be fully outside of what defines an ideal INTJ. The ideal INTJ desires to create perfect systems that are efficient and productive. His aim is not universal happiness or peace, but efficiency and production. The reason that peace is usually useful to this goal is because it avoids the chaos of conflict and allows things to move forward quickly. But what if war were going to make things work better? The ideal INTJ might very well start a war in order to make things more efficient in the long run. This would be the same sort of thing that the Emperor did in the Star Wars franchise. He took control of the entire galaxy and he stated that his reason was to create peace. And, other than when the rebels started up their revolt, he did achieve peace throughout the galaxy. His methods were ruthless, and he didn't waver in his pursuit of power, even to the point of having Darth Vader slaughter children who might pose a future threat. He was willing to work with Luke Skywalker if the young man would join with him, or he was just as willing to kill Skywalker if the young Jedi wouldn't play ball. If you apply system and structure to any group of people, even if it works well for most of them, it will almost certainly not work for some people. Those people are going to be a source of trouble. So what do you do to make the system work without trouble? From a humanitarian view, you should even bring the system down to ruin rather than to harm one person's feelings. From a rigid adherence to logic, you would remove the problem people from the equation by whatever method is available, so that the system can run smoothly into the future. This shows that a basic conflict of aims, interests, and goals will often arise whenever an INTJ is at work to build an efficient system. And he has to work with people who don't love logic, reason, and system, and who are more interested in feeling good than in accomplishing what the INTJ is striving for. This can make even the ideal INTJ appear to be a villain, and he might take actions that some would consider to be villainous in order to make things work. In my INTJ Paradise video, I mentioned that in my fiction I have created an INTJ android who is working to control the world government of the planet Attis, and then later the government of the entire galactic empire in the Colt Galaxy. As I have worked through many of the problems that are going to arise, my INTJ protagonist is doing all he can within his superhuman power to create a system that allows people to live free as well as effectively. But as they say, you can't make an omelet without breaking some eggs. At some point you have to decide whether your system is more important or if you individuals are more important. Logically, you must face this fact. The Byzantine Empire, ruled from the great city of Constantinople, lasted for over 1,000 years, and the stories of its emperors are very interesting. There are examples of men who showed mercy and were later assassinated by the ones who were spared, and others who were quick to order ruthless executions of rivals, as well as friends and family members. History tells us that power, like antimatter, is hard to achieve and nearly impossible to hold, and to do so demands constant vigil or else disaster will beset you. One of the things about the INTJ mind is that we can easily retain conflicting ideas in our head at the same time, as long as there is doubt as to which one is more correct. However, once one of these ideas is found to be demonstrably true, the other one is jettisoned without ceremony. When things are known to be true, it is black and white, and we don't care whose feelings are hurt by the facts. If you are sitting on a throne, this will lead to actions that others might consider to be ruthless, even when there is no emotion behind the actions, only logic and reason. Something can be legitimately reasonable and still appear to be evil and villainous to someone who uses feelings rather than reason as the method for deciding things. But the number of all-powerful emperors is quite small, and INTJs are not fools. We take our environment into consideration at all times, and though we know that what we must do is not always going to lead to efficient systems in this imperfect world, we usually know what actions we could take that would fix the way things are currently going if we were given the opportunity. In addition to creating a working optimum system in our minds, we also have to include the vast number of variables introduced by having other people involved in what we are doing. I have stated many times over the years to anyone who would listen, it wouldn't be like this if I were king. Give me unlimited power for a short time and I'll set things right. However, that is not going to happen, and so I'm content to pour my ideas into fiction and am happy to let the world go on its own stupid way. Another thing to consider is that people don't love system the way you and I do, no matter how well it works, if it makes them feel bad. That is why all the super INTJ villains in fiction come to a bad end when the climax of the story arrives. However, few people ever think past the end of the story to understand that when you remove the system violently, you are left with a mess filled with chaos, raiding marauders, and other unpleasantness. In the case of Star Wars, you would be left with a huge number of stormtroopers, fleets of ships in the hands of now renegade admirals, and so on. In other words, the big bad wolf is gone, but now you will have a myriad of little wolves to deal with that were held in check by the big bad wolf before he was taken down. There is always a balance between system and chaos. If one is supreme, the other is held in check. Also, chaos is easy. It will come naturally. A well-functioning system takes intelligence and hard work to achieve and to maintain. When you are just cutting off the head, as happened with the Byzantines, and replacing it with another, leaving the body intact, it is not necessarily a big deal to the guy on the street. But take both the head and the body down without replacing it with something that works, and you will do so at your peril. What do you think makes a bad INTJ? How far can you pursue your vision of system before you cross the line into becoming evil? Is creating a system a perfect omelet? Justification for breaking a few eggs? Or is that unacceptable? What guides you as you make decisions moving forward in time? If you enjoyed the video, please click like. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do. If you click on the bell, you will also receive notifications when I put up a new video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.